Hello MotoGP enthusiasts. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. A dramatic sprint at the Circuit of the Americas delivered everything MotoGP promises: strategy gambles, late race drama, and a flurry of incidents that reshaped the leaderboard. Jorge Martín seized the moment, passing Francesco Bagnaia on the final lap to claim victory and, briefly, the championship lead. Bezzecchi's crash and Marc Márquez's early tumble, which also took Fabio Di Giannantonio out, turned a tactical contest into a survival test for many. Jorge Martín ended a long drought with a gutsy sprint victory at the Circuit of the Americas, arriving from 7th on the grid to take the top step. A bold rear-tyre call, patient racecraft, and a late pass on Pecco Bagnaia delivered Martín his first win in 511 days and a shot of momentum for Aprilia as the season heads into its European phase. Pecco Bagnaia left Austin with mixed emotions, a strong sprint performance that produced his first podium of 2026, but also the frustration of surrendering victory on the final lap. The Ducati rider showed the pace he's been searching for, yet the result underlined how fine the margins remain between recovery and regret. Race direction has confirmed a long lap penalty for Marc Márquez after his crash in the Austin sprint that also took Fabio Di Giannantonio out of the race. The 9-time world champion accepted responsibility immediately, apologized to the rider involved, and now faces a penalty that will shape his Sunday strategy. Marquez's frankness and the team's damage control will be central to how he recovers from a chaotic weekend. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Martín's contrarian choice to run the medium rear paid off spectacularly. Starting 7th, he methodically climbed through the pack as rivals on softer rubber began to fade. On the final lap, he executed a decisive pass down the back straight and under braking at turn 12 to snatch the win. He backed his tire call after testing it in practice and credited the team for trusting the gamble. The result rewarded patience and tire management over early aggression. In a sprint where many chased immediate pace, Martín's long-view tire strategy turned the race on its head. Bagnaia led for most of the sprint after a brilliant first corner move and looked set for victory until late tire degradation undermined his pace. He defended hard but was ultimately overtaken on the final lap. The podium still represents a morale boost after a difficult start to the season. He admitted the soft rear gave early advantage but suffered in the closing laps. The result is encouraging but leaves a sting. The performance confirms Bagnaia's speed is returning. The task now is to balance early aggression with late race durability. The weekend's tight margins produced penalties and misfortune. Bezzecchi and Marini were later penalized for impeding Marquez in qualifying, costing grid positions for the feature race. Bezzecchi himself crashed out late while fighting near the front, removing a key Aprilia contender from the finish. Penalties and crashes underline how small errors, a misjudged braking point, a mistimed maneuver, can have outsized consequences in a field this close. Marc Márquez's early crash was one of the sprint's most consequential moments. An ambitious outside move at turn 12 went wrong and collected Fabio Di Giannantonio, ending both their races and earning Marquez a long lap penalty for Sunday. Marquez accepted responsibility and apologized to Di Gia. The incident reshuffled the running order and added a strategic complication for Marquez's feature race, forcing him to plan around a mandatory time loss. Pedro Acosta capitalized on the chaos to secure a podium spot, while Enea Bastianini produced a strong second half to finish just off the rostrum. Joan Mir's crash and Alex Marquez's late overtakes shuffled the middle pack, with Luca Marini emerging as the top Honda finisher. Investigations into tire pressures and other technical queries mean some results remain provisional. Austin's sprint was a microcosm of a season in flux, strategic gambles rewarded, favorites tested, and the championship picture nudged by a single late move. Martín's comeback win injects Aprilia with momentum and hands him the championship lead, but penalties, protests, and the long feature race ahead mean the story is far from finished. Sunday will demand tire management, tactical news, and clean execution, and after today, every decision will be under a microscope. Martin's race hinged on a contrarian decision: fit the medium rear while many rivals chose soft rubber. The choice prioritized stability and tire life over outright early grip, allowing him to move through the field as others began to fade. It's been a really tough time. Despite a perhaps somewhat risky choice with the medium tire, it paid off in the end. In sprint format, where aggression often wins, Martin's patience was a reminder that tire strategy can still overturn starting order. Starting 7th, Martin picked his moments cleanly, overtaking Johan Mir and Pedro Acosta before capitalizing on the misfortunes of others. When Marco Bezzecchi and then Bagnaia encountered trouble, Martin was there to seize the lead on the final lap down the long back straight. The win was as much about timing as pace. Martin's ability to read the race and preserve his tires turned a midfield grid slot into a victory. Emotions ran high at the finish. Martin's exuberant celebrations included punching his bike's windshield and an ill-fated wheelie that ended with a tumble at high speed. He escaped unhurt, but the antics left the team with a repair bill and a reminder that joy can have a cost. I feel sorry for the team, who now have to work on fixing it instead of celebrating. Luckily, I wasn't hurt. The moment humanized the champion: relief, release, and a touch of misjudgment. But it also underlined the thin line between celebration and consequence in MotoGP. Martin admitted the soft tire remains a weakness for his package, particularly in cornering and qualifying. The medium worked here, but Aprilia must still address soft tire performance if Martin is to start higher and avoid repeated recovery drives. We need to improve with the soft tire because as the season progresses we'll also need to start further ahead. The sprint win provides data and confidence, but it also exposes a development path. Nail the soft tire window and Martin's weekends will look very different. Despite the emotional victory, Martin kept perspective. He stressed scoring points and building consistency rather than chasing headlines or the title prematurely. The win is a milestone in a methodical comeback, not a declaration of championship intent. In 2024, I won without thinking about the championship, and all that matters is getting out there and scoring points. That measured stance fits Martin's recent approach: steady progress, setup refinement, and letting results follow the work. Austin delivered a perfect mix of strategy, opportunism, and emotion for Jorge Martín. The medium tire gamble, the late race pass, and the raw celebration combined to end a long wait for victory and to inject Aprilia with momentum. The real test now is translating sprint success into consistent feature race results, and fixing the soft tire shortfall so Martin can fight from the front rather than claw his way back. Bagnaia launched from the second row and immediately seized control with a decisive first-turn move. For most of the sprint he looked comfortable, attempting to build a gap and manage the race on his terms. But the soft rear he chose began to degrade late, and Jorge Martín, on a medium rear, closed in and passed him on the final lap. I made the right choice for us. I gave it my all, perhaps even too much in the early laps. The race was a textbook example of how tire selection and early aggression can pay off, or backfire, depending on how the final stint unfolds. The decisive variable was tire strategy. Bagnaia's soft rear delivered initial pace but left him vulnerable to late vibration and drop-off. Martin's contrarian medium preserved performance and allowed a late charge. Bagnaia acknowledged the trade-off. The soft gave early advantage but cost him in the closing stages. In a season where carcass choices and tire windows are pivotal, this duel highlights the strategic chess match teams must play between outright speed and sustainable pace. Bagnaia admitted he pushed hard from the outset and wondered if a slightly different defensive line or braking point might have held Martin off. He also conceded he couldn't anticipate Martin's late dive into turn 12. The result stings because victory felt within reach, yet the podium restores confidence after a rocky start to the year. It gives me a lot of confidence. Finishing in front is incredibly satisfying. Confidence and stink can coexist. The podium proves progress, while the narrow defeat sharpens focus. Bagnaia pointed to incremental gains from testing into the weekend and the need to better understand behavior with the stiffer carcass used earlier in the season. He believes the team is moving in the right direction but must keep refining qualifying performance and tire management to convert pace into wins. Ducati's engineers will be dissecting the soft versus stiff interaction and looking for setup tweaks that preserve braking stability without sacrificing late race durability. With a long, hot race ahead, tire management will be crucial. Bagnaia left Austin with renewed belief that the Desmosedici can fight at the front when the package is right, but he also knows the championship demands consistency across outlook arid circuits and conditions. The podium is a morale too and a reminder, the speed is there. Now Ducati must turn that speed into repeatable race results. Austin's sprint was both a step forward and a reality check for Pecco Bagnaia. The performance confirmed progress. The final lap pass exposed remaining vulnerabilities. If Ducati can stabilize qualifying and manage tire life more predictably, Bagnaia's confidence from this weekend could be the foundation for a stronger, steadier campaign. Marquez attempted an outside move into turn 12 early in the sprint, misjudged the braking and the slipstream of three bikes, and lost the front. The resulting high-speed fall collected Di Giannantonio, ending both riders' sprints. Marquez did not deflect blame. It was a mistake, and it had consequences, because we took another rider down with us. Public acceptance of fault is rare in the heat of a race. Marquez's immediate admission frames the incident as a rider error rather than a controversial stewarding call, and it sets a tone of accountability ahead of the long lap sanction. Race direction confirmed the long lap penalty for tomorrow's feature race. That means Marquez will have to ride an extended route once during the race, costing valuable seconds and forcing a different tactical approach. A long lap changes the calculus. Marquez must balance aggression with conservation, choosing when to serve the penalty to minimize position loss. Starting from 6th, the penalty complicates any comeback plan and hands rivals a strategic advantage. Marquez said he apologized to Fabio Di Giannantonio and acknowledged the extra sting of taking another rider down. The incident has rippled through the paddock, prompting debate about risk versus reward in early race aggression. A crash hurts more when you take someone else down, but we have to serve a penalty for it tomorrow, and we're going to serve it. Marquez also addressed a separate qualifying incident involving Marco Bezzecchi and Luca Marini, describing it as a misunderstanding born of high speeds and split-second timing. He downplayed any lingering grievance and accepted the steward's decision where penalties were applied. Austin's tight margins and frequent traffic make such clashes inevitable. Marquez's pragmatic take keeps focus on racecraft rather than paddock politics. With the long lap confirmed, Marquez's objective is straightforward: serve the penalty, manage the race, and extract the best possible result. He acknowledged the consequences and signaled readiness to adapt his strategy accordingly. We paid for it today, we're going to pay for it tomorrow, and that's it. Go out there, serve the penalty, and do our race. The penalty forces Marquez into a chess match with rivals. Timing the long lap, tire life and overtaking windows will determine whether he can salvage a strong finish or be left to fight for recovery points. The confirmed long lap penalty turns Marquez's Austin weekend into a test of discipline as much as speed. His candid acceptance of responsibility and apology to Di Giannantonio have softened immediate tensions, but the sporting consequence is clear. Marquez must now convert resilience into racecraft under handicap. How he and Ducati manage tire strategy, timing and aggression will decide whether the incident becomes a footnote or a defining moment of the weekend. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!